Here's the next topic I've got.
Okay.
There was an article today that came out about Star Trek and the plans Skydance has going forward for the Star Trek franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And according to this article, the Kelvin franchise or the Kelvin Timeline is officially dead.
Yeah.
They're giving up on a fourth Kelvin Timeline movie. I don't know. I think that was inevitable because of the cost of the actors involved.
Mm-hmm.
But I am disappointed. I think they had several movies left in them. You know, the age of the actors, they could have gone on with these roles.
I mean, we could have had another 3 films with the age of the actors. I mean,
exactly. We got 6 movies out of the original crew, and they were 20 years older when they started.
Yeah.
So we could have at least gotten 3 more movies out of these guys. So I'm disappointed, but with the age of these actors, I'm not at all surprised. Because or the cost, I mean, because you need to keep Star Trek is niche. That's all there is to it. Star Trek is niche. And you need to keep the costs down. And when you're paying a Chris Pine or a Zoe Saldana or a what's his name? Shaun of the Dead.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah, you're not going to make a movie on the cheap.
This might be a hot take, but I think the next Star Trek movie, if they attempt to do one, needs to not connect to any of the older stuff. It just needs to be its own adventure with like another crew, another ship, something completely different. If they're going to do one,
I don't think we can talk about the Kelvin Timeline without discussing the damage that Star Trek Into Darkness caused. Because remember the press at the time when J.J. Abrams and Benedict Cumberbatch were going around and saying that Benedict Cumberbatch wasn't playing Khan, and then that infamous scene in the movie, "My name is Khan."
Yeah.
So you go from the 2009 movie that effectively wiped the slate clean. They could go any direction they want, and then the sequel they go to do a reboot of Wrath of Khan.
But then they did Beyond, and Beyond was the best of the 3, I think.
Yeah, but nobody cared by that point with Star Trek Beyond, though.
I still prefer the first one.
Yeah, I like Star Trek 09, but Star Trek Beyond came after the damage of Into Darkness. And Star Trek Into Darkness made more money than Star Trek 09 did.
Yeah.
Star Trek Beyond made less money than 09, even adjusted for inflation.
Which tells us maybe the nostalgia stuff we hate is the stuff that general audiences want. I mean, that was the best performing of the 3.
Well, I don't know. I think that, as Perp and I always say, who cares about box office?
Yeah, I don't. Me personally, I never judge the quality of anything on a box office.
Exactly. But the thing is, the Star Trek movies, they can be successful. It didn't need to make Into Darkness money to be successful, but it needed to be brought in at a lower budget. And unfortunately, those movies were not. So,
I was a very passive. I only saw the Star Trek movies, and I enjoyed them. I liked the Voyage Home. I liked First Contact. I like those, like more like sci-fi action films. I saw it like that. But the J.J. Abrams one, that 2009 one, I really loved. I did loved too. That one, and
I feel like I'm in the minority on that one.
Yeah.
I've defended it so many times. I'm like, if people want to jump into like a trilogy of Star Trek or even just an individual Star Trek movie, that would be the thing I would tell them to watch.
And even thinking now, it's going to be so hard. Like if they're going to reboot Star Trek, like what he added, like the visual, like the cleanness and all that, like he had like this whole. I think he redefined just the visuals of Star Trek and made it look cool and sleek.
And that's what all the TV shows are based on what he did in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like to remake that, and it's like, well, what's the next take? What's it going to look like? Back to the old stuff? It's like, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Because if you think about it, you go from the original series to like the Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine era, whatever. You see a clear progression of what those visuals look like. Yeah. I do believe that the visual... The style of the 2009 movie, love it or hate the lens flare shit or whatever, he changed everything, and every Star Trek after his Star Trek has used his visuals to update the older stuff,
and it's looked great. And I can't imagine like redesigning that. Like I don't know. Even like the uniforms looked like they looked great. I don't know. Do you want to give Jarbo the link?
Yeah, say Matt has a question in the chat.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to pull up Twitter.
Yeah, I even liked Into Darkness. I I'm very forgiving when it comes to like story stuff with like action blockbusters. So I was very.
My least favorite was the third one. Like that's the one I liked the least out of all three.
I like the third one. I thought the effects were incredible.
Oh yeah. No, like as a movie, I think it did everything right. It's just for me, the story was the least interesting of the three movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just me.
I've always said Star Trek Into Darkness was my least favorite Star Trek movie because, like I said, all it is just a retreading of Wrath of Khan.
A lot of people said that.
I actually don't agree with that at all, because that movie tells a unique story that is completely different from Space Seed or Wrath of Khan until the last 15 minutes. But if you look at that movie, nothing is retreaded from the previous films until Kirk dies. And then we get the chamber.
I really like Benedict too. Like he's one of my favorite actors. Like I feel like him being in it decreases the drama for me a little bit from the upsetness about the lying and everything. Like I get that, but I just really like him as an actor. I find him to be very engaging. That's just me personally.
Oh yeah, no, he's great. I do think he was miscast too, though. They should have cast. Yeah. I mean, look, I know Ricardo Montalban wasn't Indian, but they should have cast an Indian.
Yeah. That's one of those times where I'm like, you did it as like a red, I guess, to like throw us off the trail of what it was going to be, and then you're like, oh no, he is Khan. It's like you could have gone the extra mile and done a better casting, I think, for that particular role.
I thought it would have been better if there was a twist at the end because he initially said his name was John Harriman.
Yeah.
Like, what if he actually was John Harriman and he was trying to protect the real Khan who was still like I thought it would have been cool at the end if they put them like all in cryostasis and then they just kind of panned over one of them and like they had Ricardo Montalban in there.
Yeah.
And it's like that. See, he said he was Khan, but he was protecting his leader who in this timeline had not. I don't know. They didn't do that, but I thought it would have been a nice little twist.
Fourth ask, should Star Trek be hip? I think Star Trek is big enough where it's like you could have several, where you could have like the core of Star Trek. But yeah, I think it could be hip. I mean,
J.J. Abrams kind of made it hip, didn't he? Yeah. Like it was kind of that was the.
And then they hated him for it.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that hip? Tarantino Star Trek would be hip, wouldn't it?
Oh, look, Matt's here. I didn't even see him pop in. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, welcome, Matt. That's a thing.
Yeah, that is. Okay, can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I
awesome. So Star Trek, huh? You guys talking about Star Trek?
Yeah.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams, I think, reinvented the franchise for the modern audience. But it's like Star Wars. Star Wars and Star Trek need to age with the audience that was there when they first came out. And I think if they were to go that direction, it would probably do better for the franchise rather than trying to over modernize it.
You mean like as a film? Like a film franchise?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of like this, where it's for those of us who grew up in like the 80s and 90s, right? Like we had Star Trek the movies, but we didn't have Star Trek the show. And Star Trek the show, you know, was like they tried to do that with the first movie, and it was so bad that they had to go B movie with it with Wrath of Khan, which turned into like an ultimate classic. And I feel like people grew up with that, right? So you look at Search for Spock and Quest for Peace, and no, that's Superman. What's the fourth?
Search for Spock, Voyage Home, Final Frontier,
right? And but I mean, it's just like if they and
Star Trek Goes to Prom.
Star Trek Goes to Prom, exactly. That was a classic.
That was
film.
a good one.
Star Trek 12. So very tired.
Kind of. I mean, but I feel like these franchises need to stop attempting to be modern and start living in the world where they existed and then just play to that. That's why I think this Mummy 4 thing. No, we've had Perp and I have had this argument before, but it's like the Mummy 4 ignoring Mummy 3, which whatever. I think is.
I don't even know what that means.
That
means they're literally going to mention part 2 and 1 so much that it's going to be very.
No, they're going to they're going.
Like,
yeah, they're going to ignore the, you know.
Well,
that happened all the way in Asia. Why would they need to bring that up?
Well, that's the thing. When you say they're going to ignore it, does that mean they're just not going to mention it, or does that mean
it's possible they're going to?
Why would they mention it?
It's possible they're going to Superman Returns that thing.
Well, you see, and that's the thing. We mentioned Superman Returns. Superman Returns didn't really ignore Superman 3 or 4. There was no mention of them.
Hey, dude, Lethal Weapon 3 did not mention Lethal Weapon 1.
Yeah, like they didn't say anything in Superman Returns that contradicted the events of 3 and 4. So theoretically,
no, but they altered
fact,
the timeline to not have to go to those movies to be sequels to those films. That's what I'm talking about. And they absolutely did do that in 2006.
But they still could have happened. And in fact, we know that they did happen because when they did bring Brandon Routh's character back in the Arrowverse, he literally referenced the events of Superman 3 in the Arrowverse. So it's like, well, that did happen. But that was
but in continuity,
to Jamie Lee
so they retcon. They double retcon.
It's a double.
That's what the Halloween franchise does. Honestly, they retcon.
And the Halloween franchise just needs to go away as well. Like, a lot of that stuff. Jason,
I hate you.
Why? What more can Michael Myers bring? You know, it's like, look, I love Michael.
There's so many creative ways to kill people. That's all he needs to do.
Yeah, but
I want Michael Myers in space. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
recently,
Freddy and Jason can keep going till they fight each other, and then Michael Myers has to go away. Can he at least get the Hellraiser dude before he goes?
Okay, fine. Let's do an Avengers style film, but it's got everybody. It's got Leatherface, Chucky, the Cenobites. That's
what the poo guy
Ash from Evil Dead.
Early.
Don't even get me started on Ash, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. I'm a prominent supporter of that concept, and I've read the graphic novel or the comics, and it was fine.
Have you read Ash Saves Obama?
No, I did read a few of those, like what was it, like Darkman versus Army of Darkness.
Yeah, there's
I read that
Army of Darkness versus Reanimator. Yeah, there's a bunch of those.
Yeah, they did a whole bunch of those, and it's like, oh, those were fun, and but I remember when they were talking about Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, and I was like, this is what I want to see so bad.
It's too cool for it to happen.
I'm gonna make it an AI. Fuck it, I'm gonna make it an AI.
Oh, please. You're just going to have them staring at the fucking camera. Well,
that's all I care about. Brooding. Brood at me. Just brood at me.
Well, we hear a narrator as Ash goes through the floor.
There we go. I don't know. No. I feel like the idea was such a far out there concept, and it would have been interesting, but I ultimately am kind of glad it never happened.
The Ring Girl should be.
But I do love Freddy versus Jason. I do love that movie.
I love Freddy versus Jason. Robert Englund, actually, this is funny, recently came out and said, Ronnie, you should come back and direct some more of these.
Isn't he in his 70s now? Like Ronnie Yu's like in his 70s.
Pretty old, yeah.
I still want somebody to make Batman versus Jason. I told you my whole Batman versus Jason thing, right?
No.
They have the same origin. Though. They have the same origin story. Batman saw his parents die and he wanted to, stop all crime. Jason watched his mother get beheaded and wanted to kill everyone. They had the same origin, but went in opposite directions.
Okay, so one is dirt poor living in the woods off grubs, and the other one's a billionaire. So we're really, it ties into a lot of like capitalism conversations and about like affluency.
Lives in a shed.
There you go. That can be an argument. Batman is really the bad guy because he's affluent and doesn't stop crime.
Speaking of crossovers, have any of you ever seen Batman Dead End? Which was Batman versus the Alien, and then it was Batman versus the Predator, and then the Xenomorph comes at the end. I got that mixed up.
And who played the Joker in that short? And I think he's actually one of the best screen Jokers of all time. Boner from Growing Pains, Andrew Koenig, bringing it back to Star Trek, Chekhov's son.
I actually have the DVD of Batman Dead End. I bought it at Comic-Con a long time ago. And there was a making of, they spent $30,000 on that short film.
Which short film?
The Batman
Dead End.
Oh, cool.
The guy, I'm still trying to, I get it as a proof of concept, but like, did that ever get the guy anything?
Not really. He did do a follow-up short that was like World's Finest, where
that must have been just for the freaking costumes. Jesus Christ, there's barely any fighting.
Yeah. Well, they had multiple xenomorph costumes.
The lighting and all that. That's impressive, actually, thinking about it.
The Batsuit was pretty good, and the actor did a pretty good job. I really enjoyed what that was.
I would love for like someone that does these hardcore cosplays to help design some of the costumes for movies and TV shows. They're incredible. Some of them are incredible.
And they do it for budget too. Like they really are able to make it look good for like cheaper. That's the only thing about cosplay I like. Otherwise, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, because like Joe and I both go to Dragon Con a lot, and there's people there that do these incredible looks for like, for almost nothing, essentially.
You know what bugs me now though is like it's kind of gotten lazy with that because I have just those skin tight onesies.
Oh yeah.
And then you see that, and then the people like, I'm cosplaying. Like, are you? Are you really, or are you just it's
just Halloween on a different day of the year. So.
And that's fine. That's fine. It's I was at Comic-Con back in 2009, and they were giving out Burger King was giving out Team Edward or Team Jacob. Crowns
I remember that
for that, and I took it. I turned it around, and I wrote "No Twilight" on it, and I was wearing it around. And I started to get people, and I like people running up and hugging me and high fiving me.
Sparkly vampires.
Yeah, I was just laughing. I'm like, because no one liked it there.
When Twilight was first like really, really popular, Battlestar Galactica was still on TV.
Ooh,
and I had a T-shirt that had a big picture of Edward James Olmos on it, and it said Team Edward.
That's pretty good, Joe.
Joe has the most dad joke shirts I've ever heard of in my life.
You know what shirt I just had to retire? Like I had a shirt that I had to retire it. I used to have a shirt that said "World's Greatest Grandma."
Oh,
and it was funny because I'm not a grandma. Right. But then as I got older, I'm like, dude, I'm pushing 50. I could be a grandparent.
Somebody's going to mistake you now and say
I could be a grandma too.
They're going to mistake you. They're going to treat you differently, Joe.
Exactly. So I was like, I don't know. This shirt's kind of lost its irony now.
You should do like a Billie Eilish fan shirt or something to really like. That's a good way to play with the system.
So that was, we were talking Star Trek. I don't even know how we got here. This is a tangent done.
It's all Jarbo's fault.
Everything is my fault.
I do have more Star Trek stuff to chat about with that though. The head of Paramount, although has said a bunch of really questionable shit over the last 24 hours, at least in the interviews, did say that he is focused on making more content, like a lot of content. And I think he's talking about the shows that they've already been working on. So I think Star Trek would be one of those that they want to put more content out on. So at the very least, it seems like they're good with like continuing with what we've got, which I think now for Star Trek, the standard is like 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So, and I'm good with that. A lot of shows get dog shit after 5 seasons.
That's the one thing
I want to add a rebuttal to the 5 seasons. What I can't stand is that those seasons are only like 10 episodes long.
Yes, true. Absolutely true. Yeah.
See, I don't know. I'm okay with that because I think we get better content.
I don't know. I like 23.
It puts more pressure on the season because in an older season of Star Trek, when they were doing 22 to 24 episodes, I know the original series had more episodes because television was different in the 60s. If there were only 3 or 4 bad episodes a season, it didn't really sting as bad, because there's 22 or 24 episodes in a season. But if there's 3 or 4 bad episodes of a modern Star Trek season, well, there's 10 episodes in the season, so like 40% of the season is bad. And God forbid if there's 3 or 4 bad seasons in the final season of Strange New Worlds, because the final season of Strange New Worlds, I think, is only going to be, 6 episodes long?
Yeah. I mean, I do wish they'd get a full 10 episodes for that, but...
Well, I will say, though, for me, I loved, and I know we'll never go back to this, but I used to review, even if people hated it, I used to review the Arrowverse shows every week for like a decade. And I remember we were consistently getting between 21 and 23 episodes until COVID. And then everything became like half of that. So it's one of those things that they've just changed and they've never gone back to.
Hey,